Hello, guys. This is Abby, and I just wanted to talk about the coronavirus and what I believe it signifies in our world, what I believe is coming next, and I'm just going to take on a spiritual perspective on the whole situation. So, kind of bear with me. I'm going to do the very best that I can to explain why I feel or I believe what I believe. And so, if you have any comments, any questions, anything to add on, please feel free to add it on the comments below. But, anyways, let's get to it. So, in my opinion, I believe that the whole thing with coronavirus in our world, it is a catalyst for waking up our world. The coronavirus did not just affect one specific nation, it did not just affect one specific group of people, but it's something that has affected the whole entire world. And I believe that it is a tool that is going to be used for the purpose of waking up humanity. Now, let me explain why. When I talk about waking up, I don't mean like you know, like being awake, from the perspective of when someone is asleep and then they wake up. That's not what I really mean. And let me just kind of give an example of a dream that I had a long time ago. I had a dream in which this man, he was leading a group, and I was in this group. And as we were following this man, he was telling us to do different things, and we were just kind of obeying. We were obeying instructions. We were doing whatever it is that he was telling us to do. And so at some point, here I am, really doing what he had told me to do. But then it's like I woke up. And when I say I woke up, I mean I came into consciousness, or I became aware of the fact that this man was controlling us. It's like it was the weirdest thing, because it's like I just knew. I don't know how I knew, but I just knew, and I knew, and I knew, and I knew. I knew that this guy had access somehow to our memory. He had access to our brain patterns. I don't know, like to the way we thought, the way we saw things. And so the way he would manipulate us is he would give us an idea, or he would say something, and then he would begin to work, in our minds, to suppress thoughts or even memories that would cause us to contradict or even fight him. So it's like we never ever fought him, because we always thought he was reasonable. We always thought, oh, that makes sense. So there was never really an opportunity to really to fight this guy, because it always made sense, everything that he said, because he controlled our memory, he controlled our thinking patterns, he controlled everything in such a way that we were so controlled, but we didn't know we were controlled. And so, at some point, I woke up in the dream. Well, not from the dream, but in the dream, I woke up while I was doing whatever it is that he told me to do. And it's like I knew I was being controlled. And it's like I just knew this information somehow. And I remember just kind of looking at him. And the moment that my eyes connected with him, with his eyes, he knew. I don't know how in the world I knew, y'all, but I knew, and I knew that he knew that I was awake. That he somehow, I don't know, he sensed it. I don't know how, but I knew it in my heart. He knew that I was awake. And so, like, I woke up right before I figured out what to do, because I didn't know what to do. In my mind, I remember thinking, if I say anything, all of these people would turn against me. Because that's the thing about being awake. Being awake is not as cool as people make it seem to be. A lot of people who say they're awake, they're actually asleep. A lot of awoke people are not woke. Because let me tell you something about being awake. You do not want to be awake, because everybody else, when they're asleep, they turn against you. They gang up on you. And so I was simply aware of the fact that everybody is controlled, and I'm awake. And if I try to tell people that they're being controlled, they will all gang up against me, because this guy controls everybody. So they will all gang up against me, and they will all kill me, or whatever they'll do. I didn't know what like he was capable of doing. But it's like in my heart, I knew, and I knew I couldn't tell anybody. I knew that, I was all by myself. There was nobody to help me. And I woke up before I figured out what to do. And so that dream is really, I really believe is very powerful in kind of explaining what I'm about to explain, which is a lot of times humanity, we are awake to a very different reality than the reality that is actually going on. Let me kind of break that down. If let's say I'm awake to the reality of, let's say, for example, I grew up in an environment where I was constantly told I was stupid, right? And so the reality that I'm conscious of is that I'm stupid, because everyone, around me kind of makes me feel like I'm stupid. She's so stupid. You're so stupid for doing that. Like, maybe I was told I was stupid at school. So in every area of my life, I've been told so many times that I'm stupid that I actually believe I'm stupid. So that's the reality that I'm living. But the reality also could be that I'm actually pretty smart. And because I'm afraid of being stupid, I work extra hard. I get A's in my classes. I try to, I don't know, not talk if I don't know what in the world I'm talking about. So the way other people view me is they view me as a pretty smart person. But because my reality is filled with you're stupid, it's hard for me to see the reality that other people see when they look at me, because in my mind I'm flooded with the reality of I'm stupid. I feel stupid even when I get A's. I still feel stupid. I didn't get an A plus. I got maybe an A minus. So there's that sense of, I'm so stupid. Why did I get an A minus? Why did I get a B? Like there's just that reality that it was reinforced constantly by different people that constantly told me I was stupid. And the point that I'm trying to make is, when you're alive to one reality, it's very hard to be aware of another reality, of an especially an opposite reality. If I am aware, I'm constantly overwhelmed by the reality of, for example, like right now in our society, we're living in an atmosphere where it's becoming very rigid, and it's very hard to give an opinion without people ganging up against you, and with a cancel culture, and people being triggered and blah 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 blah. It's becoming a very rigid reality. And so when you're flooded with that reality, then it's like you feel as though that's all there is. But there's also another reality that you can't access because you're so overwhelmed and you're so subdued by the reality of fear that you're living in. So I think the best picture I can use to further explain what I'm trying to say is the movie The Matrix. The Matrix, if you've ever watched that movie, there's the reality that everybody's living. People are going to work, people are going to school, people are getting married, they're having children, blah 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 blah. And that's a matrix. They're in the matrix, and they're very much controlled, but they don't think they're controlled. They think that this is life. To them this is life. They don't realize they're controlled. And that's their reality. But then it's like there's also at the same time another reality going on, in which the real world is fighting for freedom. You have Neo and Trinity, and the rest of them, Morpheus, fighting for the rest of humanity. Well, I don't know if they're fighting for the rest of humanity, but they're fighting for freedom from these machines, basically. And they're basically fighting, for humanity to truly be free, humanity to truly be able to see the real reality, and for humanity to be able to kind of take back their territory that has been overtaken by the machines. And the point that I'm trying to make is that we see in the process of Neo, for him to be pulled out of the fake reality, he takes the blue pill, and then, I think it's a blue pill. I could be wrong, but I know it's one of the pills that he took, and he takes it, and then the reality begins to kind of dissolve before him, like it begins to disappear, and then it's like he becomes connected to the real reality, where he finds out, oh my goodness, the world was destroyed, the machines have taken over, blah 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 blah, and it's like, whoa, what in the world is this, and so the the point that I'm trying to make is with the coronavirus, it is basically a situation that is kind of hidden our reality in such a way to cause us as a people to realize there's more than the reality we've been living. Because the thing about when you're stuck in a reality, it's very hard for you to believe there's another reality unless the reality you're living in becomes disrupted, right? So you have to become disrupted to some extent for you to be like, oh, wait a minute, there's something wrong. Your stuff is not making sense. Stuff is not connecting. There's something that's missing. Stuff has to fall apart. It has to be disrupted for that reality to fall apart. And so with the coronavirus, it is honestly just disrupting our reality as a human race, not just here in America, but all over the world. There is a disruption happening in our reality. And when you see that from a spiritual perspective, it's very important to understand that the reason why there's a disruption to your normal reality is because there's another reality that is wanting to be established in your life. Now, this is where I feel like Christians have to be careful, and where Christians, we have to kind of like take the lead, and we have to really intercede on behalf of our nation, and we really have to intercede on behalf of humanity all around the world. It's really, to pray that God breaks through with his reality. Because really, this could go either way. It could either be God's reality becomes established, or a demonic reality becomes established. Really, like it could go either way. And the reality is that when you see there's a breakdown of the reality that you're used to, that you've operated in for years, and it's not working, stuff is not working, stuff is falling apart, stuff is not, there's just like it's like there's a glitch in the matrix, there's a glitch in the flow. That's when you realize there's a disruption, because there's something else that needs to be established. So it means one is being rolled away, it's being done away with, so that it can make room for something else. And so with the coronavirus, my take on it is there is a glitch in the system, to bring an end to the reality that we've known before, but it's also given room, it is creating room for a new reality to be established. And this is where Christians, we have to be careful, because if we're not watching, we're not praying, we could end up with a very demonic reality established upon the face of the earth. And what I see, especially in America, is I see there's a spirit of fear that has been working against this nation like crazy, with the 9/11, even with the, elections, that when, for example, President Trump won in 2016, and even, this year, like there's been such a fear in people, like just people feeling like, oh my goodness, this is so bad. And from shootings, terrorist attacks like this, there's been a consistent spirit of fear that has been hunting down this nation. There's been an aggressive, consistent attack against this nation by the spirit of fear. And I feel like the coronavirus is kind of like the climax to some extent, some sort of a climax to that spirit of fear. It's been attacking this nation, it's been weighing down this nation, causing this nation to be weary, and the reality is that there is an agenda that is getting ready to be birthed, whether we believe it, whether we don't. I'm speaking from a spiritual perspective. When you see there is a rolling out, or like a, like a rolling away, and destruction of a reality, and there's a new reality being established, you kind of have to know something new is coming. We are in a different time. Many people are calling it a different era, and I really do believe that it's a different era. It means there has to be a new way, a different way of operating, a different way of doing things. And there are those who really believe it's time for something else, and we have to be careful, and we have to be guardians concerning which reality will successfully be established in our world. I really believe like that is honestly the word. If I can if I can put to words what this whole video has been about, I will say the specific word that I feel in my heart for this season is that there is a reality getting ready to be established in this new era. And Christians, we have to guard over which reality gets to be established. We have to be ready to wage warfare and to shut down and to block and to resist and to to break the power of hell of our society, of our nations, of our world, in such a way that demonic realities will not be established in our world, but that we will actually get to live in the reality of God. I really feel it in my heart that the heart of God is to release healing. I That is just something that is so deep in my heart. I feel like God wants to release a reality of healing and restoration, and him giving justice. For there's so many things that have happened in past years, past eras, that we do need justice. Where there's no justice, forces become bold because they think that nobody is going to do anything about nothing. So there has to be justice, because justice, it allows there to be order. It lets the forces of the world know, no, you can't do what you want to do. No, you're not God. There is a God in heaven. So I feel like we're living in a time that, in my heart, I know that God wants to release a reality of healing, a reality of restoration, a reality of recovering everything that we had lost, and really a reality of justice. More than anything, he wants to release justice upon the face of the earth. And so the enemy, on the other hand, he has his own reality that he would like to be able to release. And I feel like the kingdom of darkness would like to be able to control the heck out of everybody, would like to be able to dominate the heck out of the nations, and to bring really like a different type of an order upon the face of the earth. But we have to understand, as Christians, we don't bow down to the reality of the enemy. We don't bow down to demonic realities. We bow down to Christ. And so what I could say honestly is, we have to simply move forward, with what God wants to do. We have to be alert. We have to be awake. So how do you become awake? I feel like I'm gonna do another video, because I feel like this video is too long. Let me see. It's already what, 18 minutes. Okay, so I am gonna just do another video concerning how do you stay awake, because I feel like that is so important for us to know as a society. Like, how do I first of all wake up, and how do I stay awake? um, and I'm gonna do that video. If you have any questions, any comments, any ideas, any feedback, uh, please don't forget to comment below. And I would say, if you'd like for me to cover anything specific, you can post it in the comments below, and I will try to do that. But anyways, thank you for listening, and God bless you. Bye.